The State Capture Commission of Inquiry put South Africa under scrutiny by the Financial Action Task Force, the Global Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Watchdog. This move was put in place to get the country to implement standards that could prevent money laundering and terrorism financing. On Friday, FATF announced that it has placed the country in the grey list, along with Nigeria. The two countries are Africa's biggest economies. However, in a statement, the Global Financial Watchdog says South Africa has made significant progress on many of its recommendations to improve its systems. National Treasury says, although the country is placed on this list, the impact of it will not be significant.
In our case, the impact, I suspect, will not be very significant because FATF has acknowledged to what extent we've addressed many of the issues. And as long as the period is short, I think that, we could deal with some of the consequences. But like you say, for the continent, I think it's something that we do need to assess.
Analysts say since the announcement was made, the rand has been under pressure.
This is certainly not good news for South Africa, and I can see that the rand is under a lot of pressure this afternoon. But additional to that, I've just learned that the Americans are proposing to reconsider their relationships with South Africa. And I think that is a contributing reason why the rand is under pressure at the moment.
Small businesses are already finding it hard to access the market, and they say with the country finding itself on the grey list, they fear things will be much more difficult.
It's going to be a bit of a challenge because, when we talk about access to markets, access to exports, it's going to put extra burden on entrepreneurs who we are trying to say, if you're struggling to get a market locally, look outside.
This is reiterated by research analysts.
If you are an importer and exporter, the amount of paperwork that you would need to prove your sources of funding or the goods that you're moving, as just one example, will become a little bit more laborious and onerous. At the same time, I think it's just a reflection of the fact that how the rest of the world has to engage with us, has to be at an increased or enhanced level of diligence.
On the other hand, the Banking Association says clients may rest assured that their business with the banks will not be affected.
With extra monitoring that comes with greylisting, there is that impact that it starts distracting, taking away from the good name of South Africa. What it means for clients of the banks, it really doesn't change many things because cross-border payments will still go on.
At the same time, economists say whether or not the country may be lifted from the grey list lies solely on government.
I do believe the government is capable of doing it, but whether there will be the political will to do so remains to be seen, because we have been seeing over the last few months how endemic the aspect of corruption and the absence of law and order in this country has been to deal with many of these issues. So one has to conclude that even though it is quite possible to get out of greylisting in a fairly short space of time,
the watchdog identified 12 key findings and recommendations required to strengthen the South African financial system. It cited state capture, money laundering risks, law enforcement, and judicial capacity as some of the key areas needing attention. South Africa was given a year to report on the demonstrated progress that it has made to achieve the recommendations set out in the 2021 report. Nothando Makutulela, SABC News, Johannesburg.